It is now the time that I have the privilege to introduce our speaker for this morning. Reverend Dr. Suzanne DeWees. Spiritual journey began with her practice of yoga and meditation in the mid-1970s and was a founding member of the Kripalu Center for Yoga and Health in Lenox, Mass. How many of you have heard of the Kripalu Center? Yeah, quite a few of you. She has studied meditation in South India, North India, Switzerland, Nepal, Thailand, and Burma, just a few places. Has taught programs in yoga, meditation, and wellness throughout the United States and Iceland as well. Suzanne has been a hospice chaplain and holds a PhD in integral health. Reverend Suzanne's mediumship and healing developed as an outcome of her focused practice of yoga and meditation, and she began automatic writing in the early 80s as her work with guides intensified. Her deep and profound love for aware presence resulted in a channeled book, Believe in a Merciful Universe, Align and Receive. Suzanne and her husband moved to Cassadaga in 1977, where she was certified as a spiritual evidential medium, spiritual healer and teacher, and ordained as a Cassadaga Spiritualist Minister. So please join me now in welcoming Reverend Dr. Suzanne DeWees to the podium.
Thank you. I want to first thank everyone for coming today. It's really beautiful, and to see you all singing and crying and being yourselves, it was very lovely. And I do want to thank our pastor, Reverend Daryl Demerit, for inviting me to speak today. And I want to thank Reverend Deb Gretton-Ganberg for the beautiful meditation. And the wonderful thing about this all is that our wonderful people, Patty and Deej, are recording, and they post it on YouTube, and you can listen to her again. It would be very nice. And actually, my husband couldn't come today, and her husband couldn't come today. And I said, well, that's okay. You can watch me on YouTube. But that's because we have Patty and Deej. And also to thank Jamie Olson. She's our songbird. So thank you. So a quote I'd like to start with. There is no separation between humans and God because of the mutual abiding that expresses the truth of divine love. We flow into God, and God flows into us because it is the nature of love to flow. I think that is just such a lovely place to start today. So Deb mentioned that I have a book that I published, and it just coincidentally, I got my first copy on Wednesday, and I channeled it 32 years ago. In 1994, I'll tell a little bit about it later, but this is my little book, and it's just sort of coincidental that I'm speaking today, so I'm going to refer to it. Can you imagine what it took for me to publish it? 32 years go by. So I finally got up the gumption to channel it, so I'll speak about it a little bit. So my life had a real turnaround when I was quite young. I was in the Grand Canyon, and I was actually there for 6 weeks. My first husband and I were traveling across country, and I was sitting in a stream, and I was embroidering, it was very vivid, I was embroidering a butterfly on a blue work shirt. And I had this epiphany, being in the Grand Canyon for weeks, that God and nature are constantly flowing through me and from me. It was something that it was such an experience because there I was a mile down. I hadn't had any noise of the world, far from the clamoring of the world for weeks and weeks. And it was as though I took it all in by osmosis just because I was there. And it was as if it is what it is. You know, I didn't try and turn it into something cosmic because it was nature and it was natural. So I, at that time, realized this was a profound gift given to me to understand that God is and all is well. It doesn't mean circumstances are perfect. It means that whatever happens, whatever circumstances occur, God is giving to me this flow of love to strengthen me to provide dispassion or courage or strength, whatever it is. So this God is, and all is well, became an anchor for me. So from that experience, I pretty much aligned my life with my value. That is, this flow of love is in and this flow of love is out. And if I can align with that value and make choices, deliberate choices, I felt like I would be happier in my life. So I had kind of a switch from sort of a materialistic view on life to a more spiritual intention. We're all spiritual, we're all spirit. Some of us, depending on our capacity, can study or practice or understand or live into whatever our spiritual divine nature is. So there was certainly decisions on my part that I wanted to anchor myself in this sort of epiphany that I had. So because I was a yoga teacher, I was practicing yoga from 4 in the morning, and then I taught yoga and I taught meditation, and my whole life was very sort of focused on yoke with God. That's what yoga means, yoke with God. So it was that abiding in the presence of that intention, the guides started to work with me. Now, at the time, I wasn't a spiritualist. I really didn't know anything about guides. I didn't pay any attention to anything like that. But when I would finish my morning practices, I would go to my office and I would start to communicate with my guide, who gave me the name Blessian. And it was very profound. And of course, I was questioning myself. Is this my mind? Am I going crazy? But I went and I studied with I went to another medium and got some really good guidance at the time. So Blessian was doing automatic writing with me, and he introduced me to Monseria, who I channeled this book, Monseria. And she introduced herself to me as a star teacher. I didn't ask for a resume or a description, because I don't know what a star teacher is, but I just, thank you. So she worked with me for a while. She wanted a trance channel, and I wasn't very happy as a trance channel at the time, so it wasn't anything I wanted to do. But personally, I wanted to just keep working with the guides, work and sort of find myself, align myself, and that's when I started traveling and going to meditation retreats. And in Burma, it was boot camp, because we meditated 14 hours a day. Walking, sitting. And I actually realized through that boot camp the incredible value of meditation to me. So where did that get me, all of those travels? Well, I have a regular meditation practice. It's 15 minutes a day, but it's what nourishes me. So Pamela Pollington, who is our wonderful international medium that was visiting us a month ago, she stayed with me and she sat with me every morning, and we meditated, and we dropped in really deep because she's a very spiritually profound person. So at the end of 15 minutes, she would say, no, let's meditate longer. Now, most people scream if they have to meditate 15 minutes, But I said, okay, so then we stretched it to 20 minutes, because that's kind of, I'm ready to get up and, get busy. So personally, I want to say that I think our purpose in life is to recognize our divinity. Probably all of you agree with me. And to what degree we're capable of that certainly depends on our conditioning, our life circumstances, our desire for freedom, whatever it is. But I think that as a result of my interest in understanding what freedom is to me, that then I made meditation my anchor, a very simple anchor, but it allowed me that sort of daily reminding of what my values were. So I want to say something about the book, how it happened, because I didn't really like the idea of trance channeling, but my husband and I, second husband, Cole, we were in a month-long meditation retreat, and I was channeling every day. And she communicated to me that she wanted me to do a book, and she gave me the title, and she gave me 9 chapter headings. And she suggested that we take a sabbatical from our lives at the yoga center where we were full-time teachers and work on this channel a book. So we did that. Within 2 months, we were at Key Largo at his aunt and uncle's house, and every morning we had a tape recorder, and I channeled some teachings from her. Then we listened to it, and then we wrote questions in the afternoon session of recording. We asked her questions, she answered them. So the result of all that was this little companion on how to work with guides. But what I want to say, a year after I channeled this, I became a spiritualist. Ta-da! I didn't know about spiritualism, but I was channeling. I was working with the non-physical dimension. I was communicating with spirit intelligence, and I didn't realize that that is spiritualism. Do you see? So I moved to Florida. I lived in Oviedo, and I came to classes here twice a week, and I studied with Reverend Steve Adkins, who is just a fabulous person and a really great teacher and a great medium. So I began to work with spirit intelligence, which is, in spiritualism, we refer to spirit intelligence. So I want to say a little bit about spiritualism here, because it's of great interest, and here we are in a spiritualist church. Though in spiritualist literature, researchers, spiritualists speak about levels of development or spheres where loved ones, guides, beings, inner beings in the non-physical dimension, they're always developing, and they're always evolving, and they're always serving. So they're serving mankind, they're serving us, they're serving groups of people. Like I know the Greenpeace people have all these guides that work with them. So the most evolved spirits bring in compassion and wisdom and love. And so I really found wow, I kind of fit as a spiritualist, because I had just sort of stumbled into mediumship. I really just stumbled into channeling. And then from there, I became a medium through here. And it was kind of a transition for me to change from working with guides to working with deceased loved ones. I thought, I wasn't sure why I wanted to do that. But then I started to see the impact on loved ones. If someone bring in somebody's father or somebody's grandfather, then I started to see, wow, this has so much value. There's so much healing that can occur. So I found that the mix, of working with guides and then working with loved ones proved to me to be just kind of exceptional. So in spiritualism, we use the word infinite intelligence, and to me that's the same as God. It's the same as consciousness, aware presence. There's just words we can't even fathom all of this love that exists, that we're flowing into and flowing out of all the time. But I do feel that how do we stay attuned? There's so many times in my life when, I wasn't making good decisions, and I wasn't aligned, and I wasn't receiving. So what anchored me to help me recalibrate was to go back to meditation. And that's where I have found my capacity, I want to say, to be happy. I love the term happiness is an inside job, right? We all know that. It's very new age, but I think it's like a gazillion years old. Because what that means, we turn the spotlight inwards. We're not looking for object happiness. And that means having something that is an object in my awareness make me happy. Now, I do have to say, I did get a new vacuum cleaner this past week, and I've been so happy. So I can't say object happiness doesn't matter, because it does. It's those little things in life. This is a stick cleaner. I can do my whole house in 15 minutes, and I am smiling from ear to ear. And it has bells and whistles. I say to my husband, look how it can dump the cat hair into the trash. It's like I'm object happiness all over the place. But the thing about object happiness is everything's impermanent, and we know that. So if we invest our happiness in something outside of us, whether it be a relationship or a car or a job or an identity of any kind, it is going to change. No doubt about it, because everything in the universe is impermanent except what's inside. which is our divinity. That never changes. That's eternal. Our divinity is I am. So if I allow myself to invest my time in recognizing my inner being, my self, my aware self, not so much my personality, because when we become meditators, we don't identify with the personality because that's just our conditioning. That's our identity, but we don't need to go there all the time. In meditation, we simply pretty much let go of what is outside of us, and we let ourselves just be me in a very relaxed way. And I think Deb, in her meditation, led us to that place inside ourselves. So I'm going to just read a couple paragraphs on meditation because it influenced me, and I got this week, and this is where I'm at. Okay, chapter 6. This title is hysterical. She gave it to me. Meditation is for you. That's the title of the book. It made me laugh. Okay, meditation, it's a little star teacher languaging. You'll hear it. It's like I didn't change a thing. Meditation is listening to God, being at peace, abiding in awareness, while increasing one's overall spiritual well-being. Meditation calms and regulates the nervous system. A serene, calm expression comes over the meditator's face as steadiness comes to the mind. Without aware presence, inner silence, there is often disturbance, self-doubt, and unrest in the mind. Life can evolve into an external battle of aggression and an internal battle of suppression. In contrast, when one practices meditation, one abides as awareness of all that is, known as the nature of reality. This single most revered act of non-doing is reverence for the life known to subdue the fires of the world. Concurrently, mental peace stabilizes the senses, relinquishes desires, and opens the heart center to perennial wisdom. My sense is that everything follows natural law. I feel like how important it is just in these 15 minutes I have, or 20 minutes, to let you know that peace is attainable. Happiness is yours. That letting go of the strife that's in our minds can happen every day for just 15 minutes. And it really does allow us then to live into that saying, happiness is an inside job. So a summary of what I have realized in my life is if I anchor myself in my understanding and in reason that God is and all is well, that I'm aligning with knowledge and truth, and then I receive in abundance from the universe. And the more deeply we all understand this, I believe the more peaceful and free we become. So in ending, I'd like to pray a prayer called the Gift of Life. Alan Jones was a spiritual writer, and he prayed this prayer. It was given to him by a Franciscan, but he wasn't sure what Franciscan. But the prayer's been remembered by hospice chaplains and grief counselors and hospice workers because it's extraordinarily simple. But I remember it because I'm a spiritualist. So this is a prayer to align and receive. It's very short. Oh my God, you are here. Oh my God, we are here. always, you love us. Always, always, you love us. Amen. Thank you for your kind attention and your presence today. Thank you.